Welcome to my second bonus video, and today I'd like to look at the theaters in Port Huron. I have had many questions asked over the years about where this theater was or that theater and what the name was. Did it change and what building would it be in today? And so I thought maybe we could take a trip through Port Huron and we would take that trip very similar to the one that we made on Railroad Street in our herky-jerky Google-mobile and see what there is to see. We'll focus on the theaters, but there may be some other things along the way that I'll throw in for absolutely free. Right, let's start on Military Street, looking north. We'll start at one of the landmarks of Port Huron, the Harrington Hotel, or I should say the old Harrington Hotel. And as we zoom down here a little bit closer, we come up to the Huron Theatre. But before we get to the Huron Theatre, let's look at this space between that theater and the Harrington Hotel. At one time, there was a car dealership here and a gas station. It was owned by several different people over time, but Jack Payton was the last one, I believe, that owned it, and he went later on to own the Harrington Hotel as well. If you'd like to see more about this station, look at my video number 56 in my series, and there's a 1942 segment, a movie clip that my dad made, and it shows the gas station and auto dealership as well as the Desmond Theatre. All right, let's go down here just a little ways. We come to the Huron Theatre. That's what a good share of the generations today remember being here, but my generation remembers the Desmond Theatre being here. Recently I've been able to have access to the Times Herald archives and trying to pull up different things about the theaters and show you what I found on the Desmond Theatre. August 12th, 1921, the folks in Port Huron got some good news. A new theater in Port Huron now assured. Modern fireproof structure to be erected on Military Street. The new theater, according to Herb Will, managing director, will be known as the Desmond Theatre, this name having received first choice in the recent naming contest. It'll be located on the east side of Military Street, on the property lying between E.F. Percival Block and the Harrington Hotel. It wasn't long before there was an ad showing that they wanted you to become the owner of the Desmond Theatre. They wanted you to buy stock in the company. It wasn't long after that before they announced the ground would be broken next month, which would have been October, for the new Desmond Theatre. I'll let you read this at your leisure, but there was a couple of things here that I wanted to point out. The plans of the new theater indicate that it will be what is known as a one-floor house. There will be no balcony, each of the 1,169 seats being located on the main floor. The boxes, which will be arranged around the rear of the auditorium, will be slightly elevated and furnished with overstuffed wicker furniture. The regular seats will be 2 inches wider than ordinary theater chairs and will be full padded back and spring bottom type. A space of 34 inches will be left between rows, which is 4 inches more than the usual allowance. A further outstanding feature will be the installation of a large pipe organ. And they go on to talk about the ventilating system and a couple other things, but you get the gist of it. It was going to be a nice theater. They ran 3 or 4 of these ads before the groundbreaking. You are cordially invited to be present at the Desmond Theatre groundbreaking ceremony, which will be held tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock, and it goes on to tell you about it. And it says that we've engaged expert cameramen to make a detailed film record of the groundbreaking and other Armistice Day activities. I wish I could see that film. And finally, the ground was broken for the Playhouse. City officials, civic leaders joined in ceremony. More than 2,500 persons witnessed the Desmond Theatre groundbreaking ceremony Friday afternoon on the site of the new playhouse. The Grand Trunk Band provided appropriate music. Immediately following the last address, John P. Gates, vice president of the theater company, descended from the platform, and while the band played the Star-Spangled Banner, turned the shovelful of earth that marked the beginning of the actual construction of the new playhouse. Shortly before the Desmond Theatre was open, you began seeing these kind of ads. And here's a full-page ad taken out by the contractors that worked on the Desmond Theatre. And a single ad by one of the contractors as well. They also wanted to make this announcement. Originally, it was intended that the new Desmond Theatre should be strictly a motion picture theater. Various local organizations and individual investors have expressed a strong desire that the theater be equipped with full stage and gridiron, and have presented logical reasons why these features should be incorporated in the plan. The stage you know about. The gridiron is a structure that was above the stage from where the curtains hung from. This change will make the Desmond Theatre available for the productions of local organizations. As we scan over the page, you can see there are 3 other theaters at that time, besides the Desmond: Family Theatre, the Majestic Theatre, and the Regent Theatre, which later would become the Riviera Theatre. And finally, the time came when the doors would be open. Doors open tonight at 6:30. You can read this yourself, but it does tell you what's going to be on the venue. The Silent Call, also a Ben Turbin comedy, and Miss Muriel Kyle soprano. So they're going to have a singer, a comedy, and The Silent Call sounds like more of a drama. I think the best part about it would have been the Ben Turbin comedy. He was a funny guy. And in this ad, they showed which Ben Turbin comedy they were featuring. The name of it was Step Forward. And I was able to find a clip from this movie. I thought it'd be kind of cool to watch it and see what they were watching back then. So here it is. I wish I could have found the whole film to watch. Here's what was said about the opening night. Desmond opens to big houses. And this article is definitely worth the read, and I'll let you read it at your leisure, but I'd like to kind of point out how this beautiful theater looked on the inside. It says this: the interior decoration, which was done by M. Goldberg of Detroit, is a harmony of color in the Empire design. The damask patterns and old rose on the walls are set off by gray and ivory borders. Toward the front and halfway to the ceiling, on either side, are the pipe organ arcs with their rows of glistening gold-colored pipes. The ceiling is done in pale blues and greens with touches of brown and gold. In the center is a large oval effect, in which are smaller circular effects, and on the outer edge of the oval are the decorative ventilators. Near the stage sounding board ceilings are ornate wreaths of flowers painted by Vincent Chalmers, who has done the same sort of work in many of the best theaters in the country. The stage setting is of Pompeian design with the rich blue and white hangings with gold ornamentation. The Gardner velvet gold fiber screen occupies the center of the stage, and the hangings are arranged above and on either side of it. The seats and the heavy, soft carpets in the aisle and at the rear are of dark blue. The seats, all which command a good view of the stage, are upholstered with blue Spanish leather. Attention is also called to the Hill Green Lane pipe organ, with an echo attachment which will be used at all programs. It is one of the best which could be obtained and will be a great source of attraction to music lovers. And I'll let you read the rest, but I wish I could have been there. I've never seen a color photograph of the outside of the Desmond Theatre. I do have a couple screenshots that I took off the video from 1942 that I was talking about earlier, and you can see that it has a green and gold exterior. I didn't want to enlarge it too much because then it would blur out. The marquee you can see quite well though. Tobacco Road, a great old film. The Desmond showed mostly silent movies during that era, but they also mixed in musicals and music acts like you could see in this one here. And look closely at this ad and see what it says. Tom Kerrigan, Port Huron's own movie star, comes to the Desmond Theatre Sunday with Milton Sills. The Making of O'Malley. Well, that's false advertisement, actually. Tom Kerrigan wasn't from Port Huron. He was from Lapeer, Michigan. But close enough, right? But eventually the Desmond featured talking movies, and here you see one with Mary Pickford. Once they went with talking movies, it got to be very expensive for the theaters because they had to get new projectors, new sound system, but the parent company helped them out with that. When I was looking at the bottom of the marquee here, you can see that they had some other entertainment as well, other than the main feature. And that was the Pond Sisters and Ukulele Ike. Ukulele Ike piqued my interest. I wondered what this guy was like. And guess what? I found him on YouTube.
Some folks want a doctor when they're out of sorts. Some folks want a lot of fun, and some are fond of sports. But all I want, sweetheart, is only you. I don't want a tonic, I want no change of air. I'll find heaven any place as long as you are there.
Well, this guy is no Tiny Tim, but he's close. In the early days, the Desmond Theatre had a little bit of vaudeville mixed in with their movies. And look at those prices. Later on, they'd have all kinds of things that were featured at the Desmond Theatre. Looking at this fiddler contest, you also had Good Friday services here. They even had cooking school held here. Now this kind of fascinated me, a spook show. And not only did they feature a magician, but they had all kinds of things according to this caption. They had Igor the Hunchback, wild men, apes, ghosts, flying reptiles, and other hair-raising scenes. Well, eventually time changes, people's taste changes, movies change, and the Desmond Theatre changed. It was no longer going to be called the Desmond Theatre. it'd be called the Huron Theatre, and it went through a complete renovation. New marquee, new inside, all different. You can read this article at your leisure, but I'd like to read the very first paragraph. Transformation of the dowdy old Desmond Theatre into a smart, bright, and comfortable showplace is complete. Whoever thought from the description we read earlier about the Desmond Theatre that it would ever be called dowdy? But like I say, everything changes. On a side note, the Huron Theatre was supposed to have their grand opening at 8 o'clock on Monday night, but on Sunday morning, that building, the Peyton building that we looked at earlier, the gas station and auto dealership, was destroyed by fire. Smoke filled the Huron Theatre and also the Harrington Hotel, but they still open as scheduled. They must have really aired out the place. I know some people couldn't care less about all these words, but if you're like me, I like to read every word. I know I'm going kind of fast, but all you have to do is pause it and read it at your leisure. But if you don't like to do this, if you'd rather me not to do this, let me know on my Port Huron History Facebook page, and if the consensuses don't do it, I'll be glad to, because it just takes up more of my time. But I thought you might enjoy it. And here's page 2. Actually, there's 2 articles on this page, so you can read them both. As the television sets got bigger and color television came into being, more people were watching TV. And as the ticket prices increased, the movie attendance went down. But eventually that bright, sparkly new theater became the old dowdy one, and the house lights dim, the curtain falls, and the Huron's gone. But our movie memories will live on forever, and written by only how John Brown could write it. Ah, the old beautiful Desmond doors. And here's page 2. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Join me in my next video and we'll get our Google Mobile and mosey down the road to our next theater and see what there is to see.